live now, y'all.
All right.
This is the session about economic empowerment, building generational wealth. And I'm gonna let all the guests say who they are. I'll go first. I'm Percy Miller, MasterP. And we talk about building generational wealth. It's about education and passing this down to the next generation. And credit is so important than money. And that's what we're gonna talk about today. Carlos, you could go down and then the buys, and let's go down to each of the guests, say who you guys are, and we're gonna be talking about generational wealth and about credit.
All right. So we're talking about credit and building generational wealth. It is so important because credit is the foundation. And without a strong foundation, the financial future could be unstable. So we're going to go down and talk about building generation, and we're going to talk about, you know, how to leverage that credit and to actually build wealth with it. Okay, Boss, Anthony.
Yeah, Anthony Boswell. And credit, like you say, is the fundamental pillar of all success. I also want to address a couple of subjects like helping people that's coming from prison, been incarcerated, get back into the public and build their credit up and let them know that they're not, you know, outcasts, kids that's in college and trying to come up now, teach them the importance of wealth now of credit so they can have it for the future and the longevity, and trying to stop gentrification. So those are subjects that we could address at a later date, but I just like to put them out there, and you know, we can help people to try to deal with these situations that's going on in their lives right now, just to help them. So the next step.
So I'll go. My name is Rhonesha, known on Instagram as Big Bentley Niche. I am a financial literacy advocate, especially for poverty communities. And I have a financial literacy curriculum that was just implemented this year into some of the hardest and toughest inner city schools for middle-aged school children. And I am currently working on about 50 new schools, but high school students. I am passionate about teaching my people how to overcome poverty. And I think that one of the keys to that is to be educated on credit, since a lot of us wasn't, you know, you wasn't raised with a silver spoon. So that is the outlet for me, and just to empower them with that.
I'll go. My name is Antoine Sallis, also known as the Credit Genius. When Carlos and MasterP put this together, I jumped at the opportunity because for the last 10 years, I've been going out of my way to teach clients and people the power and the importance of credit. You know, I got a philosophy I call the Great American Credit Secret. This philosophy is why our parents didn't really know a lot about credit. They don't teach credit in schools. And so I'm just so honored, you know, to be a part of this movement, you know.
I guess I'm up next.
Yeah.
I can't see much. How you guys doing, man? Hope everybody well. My name is Weldon Accely, better known as Ace One Credit. On Instagram, I'm Ace One Credit. I can change your life. And I'm very passionate about credit because credit, at the end of the day, it changed my life. It put me in a position that I'm in today. At one point, I was one of those individuals that were in that position where I lost everything due to foreclosure, repossessions, judgments, and I learned the craft of credit to get me, thankfully, in the position that I'm in now. So I'm very big on, again, generational wealth, teaching the youngsters, especially the youngsters, about credit and how credit works and how to leverage credit and basically put yourself in a stronger, better position. And of course, with credit, the finances come right along with it as well.
I'm Danielle, Sabrina. I'm Entrepreneur Magazine's resident mentor and founder of TriBuilder Media. I'm excited to be here to just share my own story of rebuilding credit and how that's changed my life. after I had a bankruptcy and lost everything after divorce years and years ago. I worked with someone similar to Carlos and learned how to rebuild everything, and was able to turn that into a multi-million-dollar media agency and a couple of other businesses as well. And through learning that and working with someone, I was able to help share that same information with my daughters, who both have higher credit scores than I do, ironically, and have, you know, I have a 21 and 23-year-old daughter, and they both have lines of credit that exceed like 20,000 on a credit card through immediately working with them. So I'm happy to be here and to help share my story. Thanks.
Hey everybody, I'm Nathalie Nicole Smith, and I'm super excited to be here. One, you know, I'm just a girl that decided to go for it. I went to Howard University, graduated with over $150,000 in student loans. And at that moment, I did not know what to do. So immediately I got into entrepreneurship. I opened up my first beauty salon when I was 22 years old. And at that very moment, I realized that credit was everything. When I opened up my location, I had to pay over $10,000 in cash for a deposit. And because I had poor credit at the time of 400, I felt like my hands were behind my back. I didn't realize I need to diversify my income. I got into the network marketing industry, and then suddenly it all clicked to me. Nathalie, use this money, pay off your student loans, use this money, start building your business credit. And now, as a multimillionaire, in the past 2 years, I was able to earn over $6.9 million in the health and wellness industry. And now I teach families all across the world, women all across the world, primarily how to diversify their income, build their credit up, and live the life of their dreams. Thank you.
Yeah, so around the most important thing that I want to share with you guys, being passionate about educating our culture and our people. This is so important, and that's why we're on this call today. We want to give that blueprint and share that blueprint with our peers, with our kids, and we want to build economic empowerment. And it starts with us getting together and being able to share this knowledge. Knowledge and information is so important. I was able to change my life by educating myself. And when you talk about credit, because we all talking about how credit changed your life, but it's the education to what's going on. Like we say, they don't give us those secrets. They don't share that with us in school. We have to bump our heads and learn the hard way. And we have to break that negative stereotype that we've been passing down from generation to generation. And this is the way we do it. We formed a brand called creditguard.com. You could go there and register right now. And we have so many amazing people that's here as guests. And we're gonna keep doing this until our people get it. And when we talk about our people, we're talking about all of us as a culture, talking about Blacks, whites, Asian, Latinos, coming together saying, how can I fix my credit? And how can I make my life better? Because everybody want a better life. And being responsible, because your credit is your report card for life. And when you go into a car dealership, if you have bad credit, you'll never ride out there with a car, or you're gonna spend so much money putting down on this that other people don't do. People with great credit, they don't have to do that. Even a house, whatever you wanna start your business. So I think this is so important that we pick each other's brains, and we don't mind giving you guys our secrets. This is gonna be one educational session that we complete today, but it's going to be so many different levels of this because there's so many different levels of credit. And I'm thankful for the guests that are on here today because we all are passionate about helping others. We want to help our people fix their credit. So Carlos, why don't you start off and tell us, your journey and what do you think that our culture and our people need to better themselves when it comes down to building generational wealth and credit.
Okay. The first thing that I realized, I'm gonna talk about my journey first. So I grew up, kind of in poverty, and I understood that there was a lot of people having things that we wasn't capable of getting. And the only thing I heard The people won't give us anything. You know what I'm saying? Never understanding that it was an algorithm behind that to be able to get that. So my life goal searching for, you know, how to be able to accomplish, you know, financial freedom. I stumbled upon credit. You know, I was running businesses at the time. My business was doing mediocre, but I knew I could have been doing better, but I was financing it all out of my pocket. But once I got into credit and got funding and got the capital that I needed, it amazed me. It blew my mind. It opened my mind to another world. So I started a credit repair company. I asked a guy to teach me. So I started a credit repair company, and I was fixing people credit. And they was coming back, you know, 3 months later, 6 months later, a year later, and their credit was worse than ever. Worse than when I started, because they had got so many credit lines and things, and they didn't know how to manage it and tore it down. So my main purpose and the things that we're pushing is to be able to show them how and educate them on credit, you know, how to build it, you know, how to establish it, how to get high lines of credit and all these other things. And also to be able to manage it after you get all these things and leverage it to build wealth. So that was my goal. It was bigger on an educational level to, you know, help educate people, you know, all around the United States on how to become, you know, financially free and build wealth through credit.
Yes, I'll give him a round of applause. So what I like about this, because people think that people on here that we come from some high level of education. Everybody on here been through something, been through failure. We talk about all of us that messed our credit up, had to start over, student loans, all kind of things. And I want people to realize that it's no perfect people. So, and what I like about Boswell was talking about, even from the prison system, Anthony, like explain why it's so important if a guy that's incarcerated or a girl that's incarcerated, life is not over. Once you get out, you have a second chance. Why not better your credit to go and create wealth to build it like everybody else?
I'm glad you touched on, you know, let me touch on that something, because that's something that's near and dear to my heart. Because as you know, I was incarcerated, I've been in prison, I was released, and I wasn't educated in finances in any way. And, you know, we did some things that, you know, we came together and made some stuff happen with no limit and helped change our life in that way. But I'm concerned about the disproportionate amount of our people that are imprisoned in America. They get released, and I know all of these guys because I come from that element. And they come home and they have nothing, you know, for them. They don't teach them anything about finances. They don't teach them anything about building wealth, nothing. And so I took it upon myself to say, okay, well, let me start helping these guys that I know, because they're good people and they want to do things, but they have to learn and know how to. And now I have like 2 case studies that I did with Carlos. He'll let you know. My partner, Corey Jalou, is one guy. We brought him to the program. I set him up with Los. He came in, and now he's like 803, 786 credit score. I showed him what to do. Once he got it together, he's got like 3 or 4 properties, and now he's starting to see life in a different way, and it changed his life. He don't want anything to do with the streets no more, because, you know, he's been in and out of prison. He's been shot up because he had no other avenue. He knew nothing else, and that's what happens to most of our people. They come home and they just don't have nothing else to do, so they go back to the same thing. So now I want to create a lane in which they understand it doesn't matter if you've been locked up or not, if you got an X or not. When you fill out paperwork, and as all of you know, when you fill out paperwork and turn it in, if that matrix right, if that criteria right on there, they don't know whether you black, white, Asian, black people. They don't know what you are. All they know is you qualify. And I think that us getting together, coming together to help our people get back into society to create commerce would be a great thing for America, you know, and our communities. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to go down to the ladies first, where we talk about. Now come back to the guys. I want you, the ladies, to go one by one, telling your story, and I know that you guys are so passionate about helping the next generation. So let's start off. Each one of you guys tell your story and tell us why this is important to you.
You're on mute. You're on mute.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. I'm sorry. So it's important for me because not only did it change my life, but it changed my family life.
Yeah.
I wasn't taught about credit. I wasn't taught about how to manage money. I wasn't taught about entrepreneurship until I got a certain age. My dad was the first person in our family to break the curse of being a worker bee. I won't say curse, but the mentality changed with my dad, and he passed it on to us. My dad ran a business and still runs a business for over 20 something years, but him too, he still didn't understand how important credit was. So it took for me to be educated. I educated and taught myself, and then I was able to pour into him, and it took his business to the next level. Not only did it help my father, but I was able to put my own child into position. My son is 12 years old. He owns 2 properties. He has several LLCs. Once he turns 18, of course, I'm going to add him to all of my credit cards where he's going to piggyback as an authorized user. And by the time, he hits 18 and those accounts actually post to his credit, he's going to have 700 credit scores. Not only will he just have 700 credit scores, but he'll be able to utilize those LLCs that I got him when he was a very, very, very small child, because the LLCs will be very mature by then. So my son will be in position. Also, by me leveraging my credit, by obtaining business lines of credit, business credit cards, learning the game. So you have to understand the game. You have to understand how to leverage that credit. You got to be able to pull that money off those lines and reinvest it and pay the banks back and grow that relationship stronger and stronger, and then go back to those same banks and ask for an increase. But I was able to put him in position. So it changed my whole family dynamics and structure, and everybody is able to stand on their own now. So I was able to help them break curses. So that's important to me.
So yes, next.
Okay, I'll go. So I was a teen mom and a high school dropout. Prior to that, I had spent most of my youth in a group home, like just always in trouble. And I was able to turn my life around and became one of the youngest traders on Wall Street by the time I was 19. So I felt like I fast tracked a little bit, but didn't have no one ever talked to me about credit, or even, I just like leverage. I just didn't like, you get like a store credit card, like a Victoria's Secret credit card. I think was like my first credit card. And you forget about like one payment, or you're just not paying attention. And then I just remember one day, like I just had all this credit card debt, and I felt like it came out of nowhere. And then I started, which became a problem because I was a trader. And so the company that I worked for, had to talk to me about that. And I just felt so overwhelmed. Like I didn't know how to get out of it or figure it out. And I never, I just kind of just kept it at bay for years, just did what I could with it, and ended up having to pay a lot in interest rates for cars and everything else because my credit was, so shitty. And then fast forward, I ended up going through a divorce and I lost everything, and I had a bankruptcy, and it felt like nearly impossible to restart my life because I couldn't go back in the finance industry because of my credit. So my whole work history, my entire life was revolved around finance, like in wealth management, ironically. But I couldn't go back to that industry. And I'm like in my late 20s and I'm trying to figure out what I can do. And I just, I eventually figured it out. Obviously I'm like successful now, but it wasn't until I came across someone who helped me to even understand that I didn't even know that you could get some stuff off your credit report. There was so much on my credit report. Some of it wasn't even mine. And I just thought that like once I had my bankruptcy, that was it. But after working with someone, and I advocate for people to obviously educate themselves, but sometimes it's just really overwhelming to process all that information yourself and then try to manage it yourself. So for me, working with someone was just such a game changer, because like the business credit that you were mentioning before, and I didn't even know that those were options. And I don't think so many people don't even know it's an option. And they're just trying to build, and if they have a business, they're just trying to build it based off their revenue. And that's almost impossible. That's why all these big, huge companies can go public and get funding, because they're not building it off their revenue. Like I was so proud for so long, like my business has no debt whatsoever. And I'm like, it was like, that's actually a really bad thing. So, yeah.
Yeah. I love that. We got to give her a round of applause. What I love that she's not afraid to talk about the failure. And everybody on here, like we didn't live a perfect life. We all had to keep educating ourselves. And we talk about financial literacy. They don't teach us this. They don't teach us about credit. Everybody that went to college, even the ones that went to college, you had to learn the hard way. And what I love about the next guest, when you talk about student loans and you talk about everything that you've been through, like so many others is going through that and they're giving up because they're thinking there's no way out, whether you've been incarcerated, whether you've been through something in life, and whether you fell off and failed before. So my whole thing is not being afraid to look at your situation and say, how can I change it? The way that people are building wealth and changing this is through credit. And so our next guest, female, want you to talk that like from a lady's perspective, because I know going through that, knowing you got so much debt in student loans is probably embarrassing. You don't think that you could get through it, and I think a lot of people give up. So let us hear what you've been through and what you have to say about, rebuilding your credit.
Wow, thank you so much. And the truth really is, I think credit is such a sensitive topic. And for years, even in college, I formed a very unhealthy relationship with credit, right? It's like a toxic relationship that you can't get out of. So it started with just paying my bills late because I didn't have money in college. Then I got into bottle service and I was hustling. I was doing makeup. I was doing anything to make ends meet. And I don't know who needs to hear this, but how you start is not how you have to finish, right? So I made a decision when I looked in the mirror one day and I said, Nathalie, how can you take care of the way you look? How can you, drive a Range Rover? Like, why are you doing these things for the world, but you're not taking care of yourself? You get what I'm saying? And then when I did more research, I realized that bad habit had a lot to do with how I treated money, and saving money, right? And I'll be really transparent with you guys. I don't know why I'm gonna tell you all this, but I've always been a hustler. I've been a hustler all my life. And I started to attract, dudes in the streets, right? And imagine you have a girlfriend that's not focused on, she knows how to get to the bag, but she's not talking about credit. She's not saying, hey, babe, let's leverage this. Let's save money. Let's do this. I'm only spending your money and I'm putting it into my business. You get what I'm saying? So for me as an advocate on social media, that has a decent influence. I try to speak to the millennials. I speak to the women and I say, listen, the same way how we take care of ourselves, let's live by principle. You get what I'm saying? If you make $10,000 a month, you're going to pay your bills first and then save money second. Let's not go buy a Chanel bag. Let's not go out to eat every day with our friends. Let's form a healthy relationship with money. That's number one. Next, I had to learn not to live above my means, so of course I have Woman Who Boss Network, and I'm an affiliate with several credit agencies that have changed my life. I don't do credit personally, you guys. My agency for women, we have global members all across the world, and I put my own business out there. I say, listen, I was so ashamed, y'all, when I made my first $4 million, I wanted to get a new car. And I had a Range Rover at the time. I just want to simply get another car. Do you know that they told me at the dealership, my credit was so poor. They said, you have no healthy relationship. You have no like trade lines. You have nothing. And at that moment, I looked at myself and I said, dang, like I work hard, like I'm doing the right thing. You know, I changed my life. You know, I'm a business owner. What's next? So that's when I got serious. Okay. That's when I started to educate myself on debt to income ratio. That's when I started paying all my balances down. If I have a credit card of 10,000, I pay it off every month. My American Express, if I use it for 30,000, whatever for my business is 40,000, it goes to zero, you guys. And that's when I start to form a healthy relationship. So that now correlated with my health, you know, my relationship with people, my relationship with God. So everything is mind, body, and spirit, you know? So to really just wrap it all up, you know, now even with my Lamborghini, you know, I'm so thankful that I educated myself, and now I'm like showing up in all areas of my life, because yeah, I did buy my Lamborghini, and yeah, I did put $100,000 down, right? Because my credit was like a 680 at the time, but now I can proudly say I went to Navy Federal because I have a great relationship with my bank, and I'm a private client with Chase, and I have a great relationship with my bank, direct deposits, no negative bank accounts. Now they said, oh, get a payoff for your high Lamborghini note, which was like $3,500. And they said, now we're going to refinance you. I only have like about $50,000, $75,000 left. They said, let me refinance you. And now let's give you a lower bank loan, right? So now we're going to build that relationship back up with the bank. Now I'm going to pay off that bank loan, and now I can go get whatever I want. So I'm really, really like advocating in this season as a woman of influence on Instagram that like, let's save money, let's leverage credit, you know, telling somebody that you paid your car cash, that's not sexy. You think it's a big flex, but it's really not. But I said, I put $100,000 down for my Lamborghini, and then somebody else told me, well, I only put $10,000 down. I said, okay, now I got to learn. So that's what I'm here to do. And I really advocate for women, because I feel like a lot of men, I hear that they say like, I can't find a woman that's like into like credit and into taking care of herself and her finances. But we have to show up as men and women and be a driving force to show people healthy habits that they can really formulate so they too can be proud of their life.
Yes.
So thank you.
What I love about what she's saying is that she wasn't afraid to educate herself and grow and get better. And anybody that's watching now, you could go on to the Credit Guard, that's THECreditguard.com, and sign up and be a part of this. But what I love too, I want to know why you name yourself the credit genius, because I know that it didn't just start off like that you had to go through something before you figured it out. And I think that I want to be able to give that back to the listeners that are watching us and seeing this. So where did this come from with you?
That's a great question. You know, you actually taught a philosophy. You one of my role models. You taught a philosophy a long time ago, and you say you always got to speak it into existence. Words have power. So I began implementing that in my life years ago, watching you and some other people I look up to. And I stopped talking negative. And Nathalie kind of touched on this a little bit, but there's a spiritual element that's also involved in this. Like Boz, I've also been in prison. You know, I've done time in prison. I've done time, you know, in jail. I've been homeless before, not because I was raised in a poor neighborhood, but because of the choices I made led me to that lifestyle, you know. So I began trying to think of different thoughts and philosophies. How can I get up out of this rut? Being the fresh new dad, I had a newborn son. Something got to change. I know there's a lot more that I'm meant for in his life, you know. And so how the name Credit Genius came along, I started getting good at credit, and I started fixing people's credit. And so I said, maybe I could find a name to kind of fit with what I'm doing. I was passionate about it. So I came up with the Credit Magician, and I started using the Credit Magician. It dawned on me. I said, hang on a second. Magic is associated with trickery and with illusions. And I don't want to be associated with trickery or illusion because what I'm doing is real. So then I started thinking, you know, as much information as I learn, as smart as I am with credit, I continue to learn. I continue to learn from various individuals. And that's where the genius part comes in it, because my information that I give my followers and my clients is comprised of information that comes from other influential people, such as some of the people in this room. So I learned a lot of information from other gurus, and I incorporated that and gave that to all of my followers. I mentioned on a TED Talk how my journey started. You know, I finally picked myself up, you know, off the street, and I landed a job at T-Mobile. So I went to T-Mobile and I was proud because I had me a little job and I needed a car. And remember, I said I had a newborn son. So having a newborn son, I wanted a way to get my son around town. You know, I had a little female I was dating. I wanted to be able to pick her up, but I wanted to maintain and keep my job because this was changing the way that I was living. So I saw a sign at a car dealership. You know, those signs that say, hey, your job is your credit. So I was like, oh man, the light went off. I said, okay, I know I don't got good credit, but I got a job. So I walked into the dealership to the car, and it wasn't even an expensive car. I just needed something. The guy in the dealership, after they ran my credit, he laughed at me. Not like a little joke or a snicker. He literally was sitting there laughing at me. And it was the most demeaning feeling ever. I was mad. I wanted to take flight on the dude. I wanted to sue the company. There's a lot of stuff I wanted to do. And then it dawned on me, I said, you know what? Why don't I just go focus on this problem? Let me get my credit right. So I started studying credit. And I got tunnel vision. I couldn't think of nothing else but credit. So I'm calling people and I'm trying to watch YouTube videos and study and read the books. Finally, I learned how to boost credit real fast. But that wasn't where the magic happened. You know where the magic happened? When I started boosting people's credit and I went to go apply for something and still got turned down with a high credit score. What? Wow. I started saying, what is this? Why do I got a 780? Why do my associates got a 780 and we applying for stuff and we still getting turned down? That's when the magic started, because I started studying what the bank's algorithms are to qualify for those things that I wanted in life. And that's when I started teaching that to my people. I wanted my people to get what I had got and to earn what I had earned. So let me tell you what's happened now to this day. Now, I do own a car. I own 9 cars, including a Lamborghini. And my Lamborghini, I use that to leverage my credit because I rent my exotic cars out for a very high amount of money. So my note is paid for like 10 times over per month. These are the secrets that they don't teach us that I'm teaching my clients. That's why I'm passionate about this. It's completely changed my life and my perspective. Credit is bigger than what a lot of people realize. So many people get, and I think Carlos mentioned this earlier, they get a real good credit score. Boz mentioned this too. You get a real good credit score and then they stuck. They don't even know what to do. They just sit on it for years and years and years. And I've seen people's dogs die because they can't afford veterinary bills. I've seen people overly obese and can't afford cosmetic surgery. Credit pays for all of these things. You could have saved your dog's life with credit, with your 800 credit score that you're sitting on. So that's why I'm real passionate about it, man. And I'm just happy to be in a room of like-minded individuals to help the people.
Yes, sir. I'll give him a round of applause. And so our next guest, I know you always say about you passionate about helping others, and you want to change people's lives. And where did you get that mentality from? Changing people's lives. What made you think like that?
What's up, guys? Again, how's everything with everybody? Hope everybody well. Well, my story, I try to keep it kind of brief and quickly. I'm a first generation Haitian from, of course, Haiti. I got 5 brothers. And again, just like most of the people on this panel said, nobody taught us anything about credit, how credit works, how to gain credit, none of that. My parents didn't know any of that. So we basically, I have a twin brother also, and he's real big in the real estate. And so he and I always piggyback off of each other. So we just basically went out and try to get our own and try to figure out our own situation. So back in the mid 2000s, where everybody know when the housing market was booming, you know, we had decent credit. We were getting houses, cars, especially houses with no money down, or those 80-20 loans back in the days, what was happening back then. And that's how, you know, we started with this whole credit game. But around 2009, 2010, everything hit a fold. Because I had a property, I had a flatbed tow truck business, I had lines of credit all out. So I had great credit, but the issue with me at the time was I didn't respect credit. So guess what happened? Everything came to a fold, foreclosures, repossessions, you know, about $200,000-300,000 in credit lines all get closed out, judgments, you name it, here we are. So how I got into credit and what made me become having a passion of having credit was, which I'm sure a lot of the people on this panel, you know, I went through so many different credit repair agencies, okay? And if a person told me or a company told me, give me $3,000, I would have paid it. Give me $10,000, I would have paid it. Because I know whatever amount of money that I was gonna dish out, it gave me access to having hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars of credit. You know, of course, we're buying houses, obtaining credit cards, lines of credit, you name it. So the 3 to 4 different credit repair companies that I went to, no one could never get it done for me. Gave me a whole bunch of promises, you name it, never could get it done. So what I ended up doing was I went to the library. I was utilizing YouTube, you name it, to try to figure out how to get my credit back in order to get my life back. Because I'm like, my life is over. What am I gonna be able to do? Couldn't get approved for anything. It was just a horrible time in my life. Down to my last $200-300. I had, at the time, 4 children, married. You know, my wife didn't even know what was going on at the time because, you know, I couldn't tell her at the moment what I was going through. But ultimately, I learned the game myself, and I was able to fix myself and my twin brother's credits at the time. And he and I both was going through the exact same situation at the exact same time. And thankfully, when that happened to me with, all this happened to me in 2010 of April, the foreclosure, the repossession, the judgments. You could Google my name, it'll pop up, okay? And by me learning the game of it, and I was still a novice about credit, August of that same year, I went from having a 400 or 500 credit score right back into the 700s, all right? As if it didn't ever happen. And then, you know, a year and a half later, I was able to get, you know, myself into another home, and just reposition myself back into where I'm at to this day. So that's when I said, wait a minute, I have something here. Let me try to do something with this. And even at that moment, I still wasn't great at it, but I was able to get it done. So I started guinea pigging people, making people believe that I knew what I was doing at the time, even though I didn't, you know, and I was, you know, did a lot of trials, a lot of errors, and, you know, took a long time to build up an archive of arsenals to learn on how and repairing people's credits. And when I started repairing people's credits, one of my clients at the time told me, wow, you're a life changer, bro. You just changed my damn life. So that's how the name came about, you know, Ace One, I can change your life, you know what I'm saying? So that's how I became where I'm at today. And I'm very confident, you know, sometimes it comes across as being arrogant with what I do, but I'm very confident, you know, I'm very confident and I'm very passionate in doing credit. And, you know, so again, I learned the game about building credit. I have a program that I have, it's called my 12-step commandments in repairing credit, a DIY, that I teach individuals on the steps that they can do in repairing their own credit to put themselves in those positions, and how to build credit. And ultimately, you know, of course, when your credit is strong enough to go into business credit. So I also teach with business credit, how to build business credit, how to put certain assets in your business name, so it doesn't reflect on the personal side, to keep your personal credit strong and do what you do. And but ultimately, that's how I became where I'm at today, and that's my story with that.
Sir, y'all give him a round of applause. And what I love about this whole panel, I love the honesty, because there's so many people that's watching this. They going through so many things right now, all the things that we went through. And I want to tell people, I was able to sell 100 million records, and people follow my movement in selling music. But I want people to follow our movement and showing them how to repair their credit, fix their credit, how to better their life for their family and their kids, how to build generational wealth. So y'all, this is a movement, and this is why Carlos name is the Credit God, because this is a movement, and we all believe in God. We all know that without that man, we wouldn't be here. And I know the thing I've been through, that my life wasn't easy. I failed so many times, but I kept getting back up. And Boswell, as we built No Limit Records, imagine if we knew this back then about the credit, having credit, because we did a lot of stuff with our own money up front instead of not being able, and we want to give our people in our culture this game right now, because even the young people that are building record companies, because everybody want to make it in the music industry, people look at what I've done, but we saying if you guys get your credit together, you can finance these companies yourself without having to go sell your soul to these companies. You can take this, well, we saying start with your personal credit. Once you get your personal credit, at the same time, what I love about what the ladies were saying, create LLCs and corporations to where now you build that credit. Now you don't even have to worry about your personal credit. Now you're using your business credit, and then you won't have to go through the hardships that we had to go through and the failures, because we want to educate our culture and our people to this. So people that see information, go to thecreditguard.com. And Carlos, I know you started this, but I want people to know your life, because when people, you from Memphis, you're a guy that come up, I know you're educated now and where you're going at, but you come up just like everybody else. So I think they need to know your story, because when they see you and see all the employees you have and the company that you built, nobody think that you've been through. And I think everybody on this panel has been through so much. So we would love to hear your story, Carlos.
Carlos, you got the read on?
All right. So you want to hear the real. All right. So I grew up on 3569 Kruger in Memphis, Tennessee. Everybody in Memphis knows what Kruger Street is and what it is, you know. I grew up hustling at the age of probably about 13, 14 years old, because that's what we seen was done. I didn't know anything about credit, finances. Only thing we know was get that money. You know what I'm saying? And I grew up like that for a long time. And as I started evolving in life, then I started wondering how, you know, I'm still getting money, but I can't buy a car because I ain't got a driver's license, you know. You know, it was a lot of hardship that I went through in life. Child support was beating me up. Like, you know, I was 60 grand in child support. I don't even know how I got there. But not understanding finances and reading things, you know, kind of put me in a position that I said, I gotta learn how to read these things to take my life to another level. And once I started reading the tax codes, I opened up a tax company. I started doing tax. I had a natural hustle in me. You know what I'm saying? I made a lot of money in the tax game, but it just went away because I still didn't have credit. And then once I seen that, I said, man, this is a repeating cycle. I'm going through tax season after tax season. And I'm making money, but then it just dwindled away because, you know, it's a seasonal business. You know, and then I found out about credit. All right, so I found a mentor that fixed my credit, and then after he fixed my credit, I was like, dude, this is amazing. He got me like $300,000 in capital, 150 on my personal, 150 on my business. And after he got that, I was like, he charged me like 10% for each, you know. He charged me like 10% on what he got me. So I paid him. I was like, this dude just made like 30,000 off me. I said, dude, you got to teach me this. I said, because I was thinking about how we could help other people out. I was like, man, if everybody knew this, man, it'll be so amazing. You know what I'm saying? But so I took it. We started building the company. And as I started building, you know, the company sufficient, it runs itself. Now I was thinking about, how can I help people that has their false belief that went through these companies that probably didn't get their credit right or didn't get the right proper expectation of how long it may take. You know, people may tell you 30 days. Sometimes it might take 6 months. Sometimes it might take 1 month, you know. But some people be in really bad shape. Sometimes it might take a year. But to give people to build expectations for people to understand this is a fight, because, you know, you ruin it. Your credit been ruined all your life. We trying to take all your life of credit and try to put it in a situation and combine it down in a short amount of time to get you back on track. So what we did, me and Pete, we sat down and we talked, and we came up with products on every level that can help you out no matter where you at. Yeah. You know, if you want to, if you don't understand credit at all, get the book, read the book. You know, if you want to start disputing your own credit, you know, get these letters, dispute it. If you don't know how to formulate the dispute letter, get this class, it'll teach you. You know, if you want to get some funding, your credit good now, get that class, we can teach you. You know what I'm saying? If you want to get in the credit repair business, get that class, we can teach you. If you want to scale and have 100 employees, get that class, we can teach you. So we got a product on every level that could teach you, no matter where you at, to change your financial situation. I just want to let you know it's working this. It's not an easy job. Y'all hard on the credit repair people. I'm just saying, get them a break sometime. You know, they're working for you, you know, because, you know, it's work, it's laws, it's legal terminology. It's a lot of things, a lot of work that we put in on the background, but we really have to, you know, just work towards it, because one day it will happen, and when it happens, you're going to appreciate it better the harder the road that it comes through. Because when I first got my credit, started on my credit journey, it took me 2 years, but I stayed disciplined, and it built discipline in me until this day, because I don't never want to be back in that situation again.
Yes, sir. Right. Y'all give me some applause. That's the credit guard. And if you want more information, go to thecreditguard.com. And I want to tell you guys what I hear from everybody that's on this panel is no excuses. Like, let's stop making excuses, because none of us had a perfect credit score. We all fell off. We all try to figure it out. And now with your education and with programs that we are having and us coming together, because they've been doing this for years, but to see us come together, we got females, we got minorities, we got different people that have been through so many different things to where now we can change this. We don't have to sit around and wait for them to change this for us. My main thing is, if you can't or you don't like to read, get the ebook. like let's stop making excuses. We all know that this is going to take time, like Carlos said, but why not invest into you? So don't be afraid to invest into yourself. I am my best investment. And we talk about credit, that's what you're doing. You're investing into yourself. You're investing into your future. You're investing into your family, building generational wealth. And it all starts with credit. Because everybody on here, mostly everybody on here have been through something and had money before. And the reason we all lost it, because we didn't understand what they've been passing down from generation to generation. Only thing we want to do, I want to buy this, I want to have this car, I want to have this house. But at the same time, none of us is thinking about the big picture. And so the big picture on here is us coming together, giving this information, passing this out to our people, our culture, our families. And then the people that's on here, invest in yourself. Whether you come to the creditguard.com or you come to anybody on this panelist that can help you, like, start somewhere. And we want to let you know, when you come to us, we want to give you those secrets. We're not trying to hide this. We want everybody to have this information. So thank you guys for supporting this movement today. And give all the panelists a round of applause. Thank you guys for being here. This is the beginning. And like I said, follow me on my journey through music, but let's follow us on this journey of financial literacy and helping our people in our culture. If you want to connect with us, go to thecreditguard.com, and any information you want to sign up, be a part of the movement. This is how it starts. So salute to everybody on here. Thank you all, the panelists on here. today. This has been amazing, and we see you guys next time. Salute.
Salute.
10 credit commandments. What? Take your mute off, Los.
I said, I think that went really well. Man. Thank everybody for coming out, man. And
Have a good day, everyone.
I really appreciate everybody for being passionate and just, you know, just keep moving in the right direction, you know, and I wish y'all companies and what y'all do the best of luck, and let's help many people as we can.
Thank you for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
All right, it's all over.
All right.